I'm just gonna go straight to it. The recent Black Mage changes in the live letter made me feel one of the recurring frustrations I've had with this game for quite some time. I wanted to vent said frustration in the form of a video while also diving through my own thoughts and opinions I have on certain aspects of the game. I want to try my best to divide this video in two parts, the 2-minute burst and the future of job designs. Before we continue, I'm not here to be right, nor make hot or cold takes. It's a simple thing of I have a thing I wanted to yap about and I wanted to place it on a video so I could mostly vent a frustration and mostly share my point of view and thoughts on the matter. Also, something to point out is that I had to write this down to have my thoughts properly written out, as I tend to yap about everything all at once and it can make no sense. Writing it down helps me keep track of what was in my head and have an order whenever I talk. So if my eyes are not directly on the camera for a bit, it is because I'm reading what I wrote and it's helping me keep track of what I'm saying, and I apologize reading it too much in certain cases. The 2-minute burst. To start this part, we need a bit of context of me as a player. I've been playing this game since the end of Shadowbringers, where 60s, 90s, 120s, and 180s used to exist. Kaiten, Shadowfang, Old Summoner, Prequel Dragoon with Blood of the Dragon, Black Mage Prequel, Enochian, and positional requirements for Raid and Trust and Monk full positional combos. Approximately a GCD speed of 2.4 for the tanks for that sweet 5 Hell Cleave, 5 Blood Spillers on the 90 seconds, between so many other things. Kaiten, man, we used to have Kaiten, we used to have it, and somehow we dropped the ball. Square Enix took it away, so you need to know that, hey, come on, it was 6.1. It was right there and then that in a certain live letter, they said they were going to align everything to a 2-minute standard. Back then, I thought this change was going to be for the better, since everyone could throw their 2-minute at this and burst at the same time, so every player would be at the same skill range. But time was really going to tell me that in reality, the repercussion of said changes were going to resonate for an entire expansion. With dawntrail now, it has been 3 years and a few months in the same formula. The worst offender is that the same formula has been getting reduced and reduced. Now, I have to be fair and say that some of these changes were not explicitly skill expression related, as having, 90s and 180s does not necessarily mean they were perfect or, fun. But in my opinion, they gave some jobs a certain distinction, and Square Enix could have made adjustments rather than completely getting rid of certain skills. But in the end, they got removed, and there's nothing more to talk about that. This part is just reminiscing part of what made, to me, Shadowbringers special. Now to yap about why I personally started disliking the 2-minute meta or 2-minute burst, we need to talk about how I see it. Now, I'm not a parser nor an optimizer, I'm just a guy who presses buttons. If I try to nerd about it, every 2 minutes you have a buff or a certain ability that you use every 2 minutes. If you have played a job with said buff, basically not a buffless job like Samurai and Black Mage. They're gonna change a little bit with Black Mage having play lines 20 seconds. Basically, you're gonna have a buff with a duration of 20 seconds. You're gonna get 8 GCDs inside that buff on a 2.5 base GCD speed. Of course, faster jobs get more GCDs in there. Now, this is just in an opener state. Until the next minute, you get another burst. And to keep the, for the sake of keeping the yap a little bit short on this, let's just say it lasts for another 8 GCDs. So now we already have 40 seconds of doing burst and 80 seconds of doing your mind-numbing 1, 2, 3 and its spender. But how do you make this less mind-numbing? We add mechanics into the equation, and suddenly this gets fixed. At least to me, it gets fixed temporarily. Because as you're progging a new mechanic, and I'm not gonna lie and say that it's boring, but it's thrilling to figure out which buttons I need to press, how I'm gonna move, like if I need to mid, all of these things, right? The issue starts happening whenever you get used to it, and you can feel the mind numbing of the 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Basically, the replayability of this rotation or fights in general, in my opinion and point of view, feels so streamlined and basically dumbed down to a point that you can plan out entire fights in just your 2s and 1 minutes. That's the only thing you need to check for availability. If I put a recent example, let's use the newest ultimate. Because some jobs can be different, I'm gonna try and keep it short. If, certain jobs can burst here, certain jobs can burst over there, it's a slight difference if you wanna optimize it or not. But most of them, 90% of them, follow the same pattern. Where, P1, you have your opener, 1 minute after Prismatic Deception, 2 minutes at, End of Fall of Faith, 1 minute before Diamond Dust, if it lets you. You have a 2 minute right before Mirror Mirror happens, 1 minute after Light Rampant, 2 minutes during the ads phase. You have a 1 minute when P3 starts. You have a 2 minute after Ultimate Relativity. You have a 1 minute during Epoch. You have a 2 minute whenever Gaia appears. And if you threw it, at the same time as everyone else, you get 1 minute before Crystallized Time. Crystallized Time happens and you can throw one extra 1 minute. You don't throw your 2 minute here because then you don't get it for P5. You can start P5 with your 2 minute, and basically it's gonna continue to 1 minute around the end of Towers 1. You get a 2 minute right before Exos 2 happens. You get a 1 minute Polarizing Strikes. You get a 2 minute at your last burst after Agmorn 3. As long as you know this, you know how to do damage on any job, because they all have the same thing, a 2 minute and a 1 minute. Now, the buttons you press are different in some cases. They may burst differently, but they follow suit when it comes to bursting at the same time. Now, moving on to the second part of this video, the future job design. I think more than anything, I personally feel that the community needs to first begin by taking on a new way of approaching things. I believe that it is right for any gaming community to submit complaints, raise concerns, ask for changes in aspect of a game that isn't working, is buggy, or maybe even quality of life. I also believe that it is fully the responsibility of the devs to look at, consider, and deliver the changes that will improve the game and allow the player base to continue to enjoy the experience that they bought or got that was advertised to them. However, there comes to a point where our feedback is less constructive, that maintains the core of what the game is, and changes into a complaint board that is only filled with changes that we ourselves are too lazy to find solutions for. The first question that came to my head when I saw the new changes was, who are these changes for? As in, like, who asked for this? And because there's a lack of communication regarding big changes in between .x series patches on live letters, it just makes me assume the best and the worst until we get the patch notes, and even then, the comments they make about the job changes feel like PR stunts to get everyone to play certain jobs. If there's anything that life teaches us, is that it's impossible to please everyone. There was an interview made earlier this year with Mr. Ozma on the game's difficulty. He believed that it's simply impossible to design a difficulty level that's just right for all players. While content should be designed with a specific demographic in mind, with a difficulty that's just right for the target audience, the content should still have something in store for players outside of the primary target audience. While it touches on the point most of the forums address on hitting a primary target, I think it's important to focus back on the fact that it's impossible to please everyone. While Mr. Ozma addresses content in the realm of the fights themselves, I don't think it'll be right to dismiss it and say the job design is removed from it completely. For assuming the best right now is that more people are going to play Black Mage. Yay! More people playing it. For assuming the worst is its identity is in the grave, and whatever challenge Black Mage had, it is now completely and utterly destroyed, shut in the fucking back of the alley, and left there for someone else to find. Holy fuck. What Square Enix is doing right now is to Black Mage is essentially dumbing down a job for the sake of people who don't want to sit down and learn. Yes, you gain more people to play another job, but at the cost of the job losing its identity, or losing its quirk, losing the thing that made it special or unique. Losing its challenge might be. As cliche, elitist, or whatever you want to call it, as it sounds, or callous as it seems, there's really only one solution for most of everything, and it is get good. The amount of times in years that you spend playing the game is not a measure of your skill. The highest level of content, though on the base level that it is also not a measure of your skill. Allowing yourself to improve, push the boundaries of the job's abilities, optimize your rotation, figure out what works and what doesn't are all part of learning and growing with the job. While being able to understand what the basics are for the jobs should be clear, I believe it shouldn't be dumbed down completely, as it essentially destroys the job's identity. In my opinion, I feel like they're going to follow Viper and Picto, and I feel they're okay. As in, you can start from here, you can build from here. But to be specific, Viper on release, it was perfect. To be fair, it could have had some quality of life, but it didn't need to get completely rid of the noxious debuff, just because players could not get used to a new job 2 weeks in. Viper died on arrival, and that unironically made me lose faith in all of dawntrail initially. Now Viper feel like it's missing a part of its soul, which in turn, we arrive to what they said about job identity in 8.0. In my opinion, with what we currently have, my vision tells me nothing much is gonna change, and if something changes, it's going to be like the PvP combos, aka what Viper and Picto have right now, your whole combo in one button. Although one of the nice things about Final Fantasy XIV is the fact that you can swap jobs to play whatever role you'd wish, when all the jobs begin to feel streamlined and their kit feel none the different from each other, its identity becoming more of a visual difference rather than the kit has to offer. It's becoming increasingly difficult to say that I'm excited for the future of Final Fantasy XIV, and that my own desire to continue to play in the game is still there. What I hope is that they make the jobs feel fun. I only have to hope that they do things right. With the new Savage coming soon, there's something to look out for. And Occult Crescent will certainly give us some identity in terms of uniqueness, and I am 100% looking forward to that. And, well, if you managed to watch until this part, thank you for watching. I'll catch you in the next one. That's about it. Wrap it up. Vámonos.